What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing on the bacon NBA DFS video. It is Wednesday. It is March 6th, and we are back with another video. I'm going to try to change it up a little bit today, and we'll see, but we'll get to that when we get to that. If you've never been to the channel, we do things a little bit differently, and we're going to do things a little bit differently today, so hopefully you stick around. If you have never been here before, you hopefully are in for a treat. So we try to have giveaways every single day. There are two ways to win, and you can win both ways. Like the video, be a subscriber, and leave a comment. You have to leave a comment. If you like the video, might as well just leave a comment so you can try to get into the giveaway. So if the video gets at least 50 likes and you have left a comment, you have a chance to win a free week of DFS content. 100 likes is a chance to win a free month. 125 likes is a chance to win a free year. And anytime a video gets 150 or more likes, you have a chance to win a $500 lifetime pass. So just hit the like button. You have a chance to win. Hit the like button, leave a comment. Even if you don't like the video, you have a chance to win a $500 prize. On top of that, another way to do it, like the video, be a subscriber, and tell me who you think is going to score the most amount of DraftKings fantasy points and how many fantasy points do you think they'll score. If you get it closest without going over, you will win a free week. If you get it exactly correct, you will win a yearly pass, and nobody has gotten it exact yet. And it's been pretty close, but no one has. So, that being said, yesterday we were all on Luka. Alperen Sengun. 80 burger on DraftKings. And what's awesome is if you guys have been with us before and you have stuck around and built a lineup with us, we build lineups at the end of this video. Our lineup absolutely killed it yesterday. So I'm going to do a recap of what the lineup did that we built on this channel. Fred VanVleet, 52.5 fantasy points. Miles McBride, 32 fantasy points, coming in for Jalen Brunson. Again, I liked him. I would have loved him a little bit better had his price not been so high, but we still got what we needed out of him. Josh Hart, 39 fantasy points. PJ Washington, an option I wanted at power forward, 39.25. Alperen Sengun, I threw him in there. At first, we didn't have him. Then we threw him in there. 83 fantasy points. Michich, I don't know how to say his name, 35.75. The value to open up to be able to pay up some other ones was Evan Fournier, 12 fantasy points. So that was more of a throwaway one, and that's kind of when you're building lineups, you're going to have one or two of those. And it still worked out. So Fournier, 12 fantasy points. Then Miles Turner did let us down at 28.5, but I mean, we still killed it with 322. So 322 still cashed. And then the other lineup that we had on the website, 323.75. Dennis Schroeder, Sam Merrill, Jimmy Butler. Like Sam Merrill, he only got 15.5. His value opened up throughout the day. So that's kind of something you need. So even if you have this video, you need to check the website throughout the day because value opens up all the time. And that's what I've told you guys in the past. We had Jimmy Butler for 49. Jacob Nwara at 20.5, so another throwaway at 3,400. Then Nick Claxton, we were all over him at 41. Darius Garland, 39.25. Kelly Olynyk didn't come into the picture until a little bit throughout the day because everybody was out for them. He had 41, and then Sengun again for 83. So this one cashed just as well, 323.75. And we did not build a FanDuel lineup, but we are going to today. Both of our lineups... we got the might be the third day in a row where one of our guys left hurt. Agbaji ended up getting hurt after, I want to say like 6 minutes. He had 6.6 fantasy points. We ended up 327.8, which did cash, even with getting hurt. And then our other one was 308. Luka did let us down a little bit at 62.5 there. But again, like I said, Indy, they put up 137. It was 137 to 120, so we had 257 there, which I believe just over what the over-under was. So a lot of good things came out of the video yesterday. If you guys did cash, if you scored big, in the description of this video is not only this article right here, but our Discord link. And if you guys win using our advice, if you would go in there and just post the winnings, that would be awesome. That is exactly what I love to see. We still have the contest. If you guys rock the Fantasy Team Advisors avatar and you take down a tournament with at least 1,000 entrants in there, you will win a free month of DFS content. So that being said, FTA Plus is here. You can use the promo code VIP customer. You'll get a full year for $99, and we will add an extra year. So 2 years for $99 instead of 1 year for $199. Or if you want to go the other route, we've got 1 year, normally $199. Use the promo code MLBVIP, and you can get it for $75. So that being said, I did say I wanted to do things a little bit differently, so that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to start off with looking at we're going to look at the Vegas odds. Then instead of going through all of the games and just looking at the players, we're going to go through the games and look at the players that make sense with implied team totals, using trends, and using the over-under. So just kind of looking at the Vegas odds, we do have Lakers-Kings, Lakers being a 2.5-point favorite, 238.5. We've got Warriors versus Bucks. It's actually, hopefully it stays close. We've got Warriors at the moment at -3. I think this line's going to be like this until we know if Giannis is out. Now, Giannis sounds like he might miss again, which will open up value in Milwaukee. He's questionable, probably going to be questionable most of the day, depending when you watch this video. So value will open up later. We've got Wizards versus Magic. Magic are only 7-point favorite. Wizards give up a ton of points. So we'll definitely look at that. 225.5 over under. Jazz versus Bulls. Bulls are a 2.5-point favorite, 225.5 as well. Clippers Rockets. Clippers -6, 224. Thunder versus Trailblazers. Thunder are 11.5-point favorite right now, so blowout is a potential, but 224.5. Then Cavs versus Hawks. I'm very surprised the Cavs are only a 1-point favorite. I think Donovan Mitchell is out again, which will open up value. But the Hawks aren't that good. So definitely if that game stays close. And then Sixers versus Grizz. Sixers are a 5-point favorite right now, 210.5. Very low over-under, but we can take some exception to that. So that being said, we've got the article down below. Will have 3 top, 3 mid, and 3 value picks at each position. So if you want to check that out, definitely check that out. So we can just take a look, and instead of going game by game, let's take a look at player trends, the top ones right now. That maybe you feel confident about, or we can feel that might make you feel better. And I kind of wanted to talk about that. So these are part of the premium content, but I wanted to just show you guys everything we have to offer on the site. So these are the player trends. So just depending if he actually plays, and how to read this chart is, if it is highlighted, this is what they are getting on average. Oh, let me make it bigger. Okay, so when the spread for the Bucks is, when they are the underdogs, 0 to +5, Giannis is averaging 3 times 63.3 fantasy points. And this is kind of easier to look at. So, and people asked in this yesterday's video, but when you're building a lineup, if you're playing cash, you're looking right around 6.5, 7.5 times value for each one of your players. Again, you're not going to get that every time. You're going to see some players go off for like 5 times value, but then you have a $3,400 player that goes off for 10 times value, which will even out. For tournaments, your target should be 8.5 plus times value. So what that means is take whatever Giannis's salary is, either Fanduel or DraftKings, multiply that by 8 or whatever it is. So that being said, this is kind of what we're looking for. Harden has been on fire this year. 30 games. But if you look at this, when they are 5 to 10 point favorite, James Harden, 62.4 fantasy points. So we look at that, and they're playing Houston. So, I mean, there's a lot to go over here. But that being said, other ones, LeBron, 54.8 when they're at this. So this is a tool to use. This is just one tool in the tool belt that we have at FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. You can do DK spreads, you can do DK totals, so how they score when the totals are over 215. You can see that we do have the couple of games that are 205 to 210 and what they've scored there. So usually when it's that low, you want to avoid it. And that's kind of what I tell everyone. So my thing is, when there's enough games on the slate, like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times or 10 games on the slate, I usually do not go less than like 220, 215, you can kind of see what they've done. Obviously being lower, and there's the outliers where, you know, Segan yesterday goes off for 83 fantasy points, or you've seen Luka go for, I think, over 100, 101 or something like that. So there are those one-offs there, but this is a tool to use. It depends if you play Fanduel or DraftKings. Definitely check that out. So just looking at players that make sense. So kind of looking at the top players, whether or not you want to go with DVP, or if you want to go with implied team totals. We'll do both today. If this is one of the ways you like the video, let me know. Maybe it does help, maybe it doesn't. So, and this is on the website, but I will just show you while we bring him up. So, Markelle Fultz, as of right now, has the best DVP matchup on DraftKings. So we look at Fultz. We see he's 3,900, very cheap. He's going up against Washington, very cheap option. Coming off some good games here. For whatever reason, they dropped him down 1,000. He's averaging on DVP versus 48 minutes, so fantasy points per 48 minutes, 55.17. So that is what Washington is giving up. They are averaging to the point guard 55.17. So Markelle Fultz is one for Orlando. The other one would be Jalen Suggs. We've used them both. You're obviously going to save some money with Markelle Fultz. The next one we look at is Coby White. So Coby White, Utah is giving up an average of 48 minutes, 52.85 fantasy points to the opposing point guard. So we look at this, Coby White averaging 52.85. So we look at the game logs, kind of the last game against Sacramento. That's what he had, just right above it, 56.75. He was 7,300. He is now 7,700. That is a good option. Another one would be, we're going back to the well. I think you want to take some exposure to this Orlando team, whether or not it's going to be Fultz, whether or not it's going to be Suggs, whether or not it's going to be Cole Anthony. I think you're going to find some value. I think today is one of those days where you build multiple lineups, and if you feel confident, like if you want to target against Washington, but you don't know where to go with Orlando, make a couple of lineups using some Orlando guys. So Cole Anthony would be another cheap option there. Not as cheap as Markelle Fultz, though. Fultz might be one of my favorite plays that we look at. Another one is Garland. So Darius Garland for point guard. 7,600. Donovan Mitchell is out of this game. Garland is taken over for him, basically. 37, 44.75. So he has gone up in value. But we look at this and we see that Atlanta's given up an average of 51.45 fantasy points per 48 minutes to the point guard position. So that's what I really like. Chris Paul would be another one. So Chris Paul, I don't know how many minutes he's going to get, but he's got a good matchup here. In this matchup against Milwaukee, I would love this for him even more if Giannis is in fact out. But Milwaukee's given up an average of 51.1 fantasy points per game per 48 minutes to the point guard position. The minutes have kind of been there. You know you're going to get 20 to 25 minutes out of him. Whether coming off a kind of a bad game, but his price at 5,400, if he could get 30 plus fantasy points again, I would absolutely love it. With this game being a close game, I think he gets the minutes. I think we could be in store for a Chris Paul game at 5,400. Now, Chris Paul, Markelle Fultz, like these guys, they're in a, like we could build a lineup just using this. So let's go ahead and just try, just see what we can make. Now, I mean, when you do this, you can average a lot. So this might be a different kind of video than we're used to. If you like it this way, let me know. I need feedback. What changes you guys would like to see? What helps? What goes with, you know, in your mindset when you're building a lineup. So we have this and we have other tools on the website. This is just kind of one tool. So if this is good enough for you and you don't need anything else, that's awesome. But if you do need a little bit more boost, we have a cheat sheet. We have optimal lineups. We have player trends. We have sports betting. We have it all. Go check out FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. So on the same sense, if you don't want to go with Chris Paul, you want to go with Steph Curry. Yes, he's 9,000. He's going to cost more. Played 17 minutes in that massive blowout. It was a terrible game. 8.75 fantasy points. Everyone, if you put him in your lineup, there's no way you cashed. I would be highly suspect if you cashed the other night. So Curry, I don't know. I don't know if I want to pay that price for him. Another one, De'Aaron Fox. against the Lakers, 8,600, has a good matchup. Trying to see, coming off 38.25, 8,600, I don't mind him. If we look at this for him, the Lakers have given up an average of 48 minutes, 50.76, which would be awesome at his price. So if you want to pay up at point guard, I think De'Aaron Fox is in a good spot. And we got one more I want to talk about. We're looking at him at, wow, his price has gone up. His price has gone. I mean, if you look at his game logs, the game logs are great. 33 fantasy points, 29.75, 34.75. We look at him. Utah's given up an average of 49.97. He's 6,000. If you go with him at point guard or shooting guard instead of Kobe White, you do save money, and he's been pretty decent in this game. So I'll just throw him in there right now, and we'll look at from there. So those are some of the point guards. Again, if you want to see more, we have them on the website under the where is it? Top plays. So NBA top plays. Again, it's FanDuel and DraftKings, both implied team total and DVP. So looking at shooting guard, using this same information to build, we can look at Gary Harris. If you want to go even lower, Gary Harris for Orlando. So if we look at Gary Harris, questionable right now. Yeah, so he might be out. If he is out, obviously, we'll go away from him. 4,300 if he plays. I would like it, but he's got a calf impingement, I guess we can call it, so they might be cautious with Gary Harris. Austin Reeves against Sacramento has a great matchup. We look at Austin Reeves here. Price is 6,600. So this is what I tell. This is what I talk about. Don't pay attention to the OPRK. It means absolutely nothing on DraftKings and FanDuel. I don't know if they calculate it because he's got both point guard and shooting guard. Do not look at this. This will scare people away. If you look at our stuff, he has the fourth best matchup for shooting guards against Sacramento being 6,600. DVP for fantasy points allowed by 48 minutes. Sacramento's given up 47.32, which would be awesome for this price. So do not pay attention to this at all. I do not like it. One of the top ones that I like is Anthony Simons. Now, it would be awesome if he would absolutely go off and have a career, just a massive career, because I've only bought basketball cards like twice in my entire life, and I actually have one. I think it's his rookie card autographed. I gotta find it. But it would be awesome. He started off slow, but a fantastic game against Minnesota, 63.25. He is 8,200. We look at this. Against OKC, they're giving up an average of 46.61 fantasy points per 48 minutes. So he is, I think he's the top option we have on shooting guard for projections today. So our top projection here is Anthony Simons for the top shooting guard. Now, again, these are projections. They're not, if our projections were 100%, obviously that wouldn't be how it goes. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. So we've got those, and then it depends on what you're getting. A couple other ones, Josh Giddey with Portland averaging 46.16 given up, or Amen Thompson 45.08 against the Clippers. So we move to small forward. DeMar DeRozan hits the top of the list here. DeMar DeRozan, 7,900 going up against Utah. Utah has given up an average of 47.56 DVP for fantasy points per 48 minutes against this position. He is small forward and power forward, so it depends on what position he plays. He's coming off some really good games. 7,900 is up there, but if you find a couple more value plays, you could throw him in there and be pretty good. Another one is Franz Wagner, another Orlando player. You can't have too many Orlando players that will not allow you, and he's kind of let us down a little bit. So if you just look at Wagner here, and we look at 7,400, does have a fantastic matchup. For his price, he's let us down. Trying to see if he's played Washington this year, just to see. 55.5 back on 12/26. So in a good spot here if you don't want to pay if you want to save $500. Another one, and we've used this before, Isaac Okoro, especially since Donovan Mitchell is out. The minutes have been there. The outage has been there. So 36.25, we used him the other day. Love me some Isaac Okoro at 4,700 to be a value option there. So again, if you look at this build, this is one of many builds. So this is using a different tool of ours, but using this, there's a lot of value in this lineup. Now again, this would be a lineup if you make multiple lineups. So making multiple lineups is the key. If this is the only lineup you make, I wouldn't do that. This is not a cash lineup. This is, in fact, a tournament lineup. So moving to power forward on DraftKings. So Mo Wagner is the top option per the value because Washington is very bad. They give up a ton of points to the opposing center. The problem is he has not had the best games. Trying to see what he did back on 12/26. If he played, he did. He put up only 18.75 in 15 minutes. I'm probably off Mo Wagner. I don't want anything to do with him. But another one would be Jonathan Isaac. He's a cheaper option. He's questionable. He's let us down. Knee injury maintenance. Yeah, he's coming off 2 bad games. I'm probably off Jonathan Isaac as well. So the next one, and this would be another one due to the play. Okay, Evan Mobley, are you out? Okay, so Evan Mobley is out. So this opens up even more for Okoro. So if we just look at this, and this is great because we're all learning together. So Mitchell is out. Mobley is out. Strus is out. That leaves Garland, Okoro, LeVert, Sam Merrill. These guys I want exposure to in this game. Atlanta is bad on defense. So looking at these games, I absolutely love stacking Orlando. I would absolutely love stacking Cleveland. So, again, Okoro would be a great option. Garland might be the top option in Cleveland today. Yeah, coming off really good games here. He's a point guard, so he would have to be your utility. So if we just look at this, so let's just throw that in there right now, but I absolutely love Darius Garland. So Evan Mobley is out. He is not going to be playing, so we don't even need to deal with that right now. Another one would be John Collins versus Chicago. Chicago's given up an average of 51.43 per 48. So Collins, he's got power forward and center eligibility, depending on where you're going to go with this. Coming off 49.75, we did use him against Washington. Use centers against Washington, everybody. That is what takes the money. So Orlando center, Wendell Carter Jr., only 5,400. The minutes have kind of not been there. Against Detroit, played 31 minutes. I think he has another fantastic game. Another Orlando player. So again, we have 2 Orlando players right now. We have 2 Cleveland players. That's kind of what we're looking at. We've built this. We just need a power forward now and a forward at 8,500, which is exactly what we're able to do. So another one would be Bobby Portis. So Bobby Portis is another big option that I love today. Bobby Portis with Giannis being out, I want that smoke. Coming off 53 fantasy points against the Clippers, now has a matchup against Golden State, which should be a very close matchup. At 60, so they have bumped him up 700, but I'm okay with that. So now that allows us 10,800 for a forward, which is LeBron, Kawhi, Banchero. Probably not Paolo. Let's see. He's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th. So with Giannis maybe being out, Hendricks being out, Mobley being out, he's about the 8th best power forward on this slate. Going up against Washington. Again, I don't want to get screwed over by a blowout. But again, 8,600, 45, 48, 29, 24, 54. He's had great matchups. See what he did. 42.25 at 8,300. So just, it wouldn't be too bad. So if you put him in there, that's okay. That's actually a pretty balanced lineup. You have 2,200 on the table. So you start off with this. Maybe you don't think Markelle Fultz is 3,900. So you still have a guard for 6,100. So that brings us down to LeVert, which is in a good matchup against Atlanta. Coming off 55.25. Trying to see if he's played Atlanta this year. Played him back on 12-16, 24.25. So not the best, but he's in a good matchup with how many people are out. So, yeah, LeVert makes sense. 6,000 of 6,100. Jordan Poole. We kind of look at this. They'll be playing from behind. Hasn't been too bad at 6,000. Kyle Lowry's going to be a value. Well, they've bumped his price up, haven't they? Yeah, they bumped his price up massive in the last week. He's playing the minutes, though, for Philly. Should be a close game, so Kyle Lowry is another option for you at point guard. You could check that out. There's just a lot of options today. If you want to go with this, I kind of like LeVert. So I don't mind this lineup. If you're scared of Chris Paul, again, you can get rid of that. You can go a different direction. There's so many different directions you can go with this lineup. So this is a lineup that I really like. Just kind of looking at the center position to finish off what we're doing. Wendell Carter has the best play for centers against Washington. That's why we've thrown him in here. Brook Lopez would be in store for another good game. So there are going to be different ways that I build lineups. So not the best game in 31 minutes for Brook with Giannis being out. But if Giannis is out, a Milwaukee stack of like Brook, Portis, just other options. So Jarrett Allen's got third against Atlanta. Andre Drummond, Nikola Vucevic, DeAndre Ayton, Duop Reith. All of these guys are in good spots DVP-wise. So DraftKings-wise, this is not a bad lineup. I'm going to enter this one. But just with the big guys being possibly out or whatnot, we've already covered Cleveland, who's going to be in or out for them, who we feel confident about. But then we want to look at Milwaukee. So real quick, if Giannis is out, and he was out last game, let's see how Lillard did. Lillard went off for 54 fantasy points. They bumped him up to 9,200. So not my favorite price for Lillard, but he's there and a good option. Middleton being out. Brook Lopez didn't do too bad. Malik Beasley last game, 19 fantasy points in 29 minutes. He's 4,600, so he's pretty cheap. I'm not going to toot my own horn or anything, but the other day I said Pat Beverly was in a good spot. 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago in that video, I mentioned Pat Bev and that I wanted that smoke. Okay? In that game, 3,300, he went off for 10 times value. So we know what we're doing here a little bit. If you guys liked it, let me know if you used Pat Bev. He was in our optimal line, or one of the lineups we built 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago. Over 10 times value, his price has gone up to 4,000. But Pat Bev, again, would make sense for me if Giannis is out. If Giannis is in, probably not. But that's just kind of my thought process. So, love me some Pat Bev, Beasley, Brook Lopez, Lillard, and Bobby Portis if the big guy is out. So, this is just one lineup. And now, let's try a different way. Let's try the way of what you're used to. So this is another tool to build, and it's completely up to you guys. But we're using FanDuel, and we're going to go place by place for each position to build lineups. So if you find this video helpful, hit that like button, guys. Go check out everything we have to offer on FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. Everything is updated right now. Everything is updated, but the cheat sheet for the DK tiers. That is not done yet, depending on when you watch this video. So again, as you can see, Washington give up the most amount to point guard, most amount to shooting guard, most amount to small forward, most amount to the center position. They are bad. They are very, very bad. So shooting or point guard against Washington, who is that? We are back. Let's go point guard here, Orlando. So we're looking at Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz. Like, with their pricing here, it's pretty soft. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Like, they've got Cole Anthony and Markelle Fultz as 30th, but then Jalen Suggs here as 18th. So they're thinking he's playing more shooting guard than he is point guard. Game log-wise, I don't know. I'm probably off of him. So that brings me to Cole Anthony or Markelle Fultz. I think I want to go Fultz just for the value. I mean, it's not much, but you are saving some money there. So then the next one is the Phoenix Suns, giving up 29, but they're not playing. We've got Utah giving up an average of 54 fantasy points. So we look at that. That is Chicago. That is Kobe White. I'm going to smash him in there right now. I already know that I'm going to go with Wendell Carter here for my center position, so we don't even have to fret about that. So let's move on to the shooting guard position and see exactly what we've got to deal with. So for shooting guard, Washington gives up the most. Again, shooting guard. Here we go. We're at shooting guard. That's Jalen Suggs here. or Cole Anthony as well. But I believe the way they do this is, I think this is how FanDuel does this. They put their primary position first, so that's why the number's a little bit different. So Jalen Suggs has the best matchup here for shooting guard, so I'm going to throw him in there. We're still averaging 7,100, and we already have our center position filled out. So that's fantastic. So then second one is Atlanta. They give up an average of 45.8 fantasy points to the shooting guard position. So we look at that. They're playing Cleveland. So with Donovan Mitchell being out, Karis LeVert he plays small forward first, I guess. But with him being out, I could definitely see that. But Isaac Okoro down here at 5,000, I'm going to throw Isaac Okoro in there. It will average up, and we can see we're at 7,700 as an average. So we move to the small forward position. Washington, Utah, Toronto. So Washington, Utah, and Toronto. That's Orlando again. Paolo Banchero, who's more power forward, I guess. You could look Franz Wagner, which I don't want anything to do with. I don't trust him enough. He could have a fantastic game. He's just been, like, if you look at this, inconsistent. 2 games in a row of matchups that he should have smashed, playing the minutes. I just don't trust him. Could he go off in this game? He absolutely could go off in this game. So just depending, you want to go Paolo at 8,700. We could look at that, or we look at Utah. They're facing Chicago. If that Mark Cannon is out, well, let's go with small forward. DeMar DeRozan at 8,100. I'm going to go with some DeMar DeRozan. Still averaging 7,500. Perfect. So still one more small forward. So we can look at this Utah, Toronto, Lakers. So with Toronto not playing, we are looking at Sacramento. So Sacramento here. Keegan Murray. Again, I'm scared of Keegan Murray a little bit because he's been inconsistent as well. He's coming off some 4 straight games that are well, but then before that, 27, 18, 13, 19, 37. So just kind of look to see, has Keegan Murray played the Lakers this year, and how did he do in those games? So if we look at this, he might not have. It only goes back to January 9th. So we kind of look at this, seeing if I can find anything on this real quick. Using our projections out, trying to see what he did. So Keegan Murray in his last 5 performances, 27.1 is his floor, and his ceiling has been 46.5. So you look at this, over-under is 237.5. It should be a high over-under. His ceiling is 46.5 fantasy points on DraftKings, which would be amazing at this price of 6,500. So I'm going to try. Again, this is a tournament lineup. You got to get crazy. I'm going to throw him in there for sure. So then we go to power forward. Let's just shoot it up here. Utah gives up the most amount to power forward. So we look who they're playing. They're playing Chicago. Power forward here for Chicago. Not much. It's going to be a player that's not a power forward option off the bump. So I'm going to go do a different direction. Flip side of that, I'm going to go to Utah. So we look at that. That's John Collins at 7,100. Now at power forward, and we don't even have to follow this, we are looking at 9,100. So we're looking at Jaren Jackson, who's questionable with a quad. Let's see. He does have a chance to return. Has not played since March 4th. Has not played since February 28th, which he had a really good game. Could go off, but I'm going to look at Banchero here, and I'm going to build this lineup right here. So Markelle Fultz, Kobe White, Jalen Suggs, Okoro, DeRozan, Keegan Murray, John Collins, Banchero, and Wendell Carter Jr. So this is just one way to do it. Again, there are multiple ways to skin a cat, as they say. Don't skin a cat. I don't know why that's a saying, but that's what I've got. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, get those down below. Check out our Discord channel. Check out everything we have to offer on the website. We've got NBA today. We've got PGA tomorrow. There are 2 tournaments tomorrow, starting with PGA. We are going to be doing the Arnold Palmer Invitational. I just don't have, it's just me running the website. I don't have capacity to build out everything else for the other one as well. So we are focused on Arnold Palmer, Arnie Palmy. We're focusing on that. We've got NASCAR this weekend. We've got NBA through the weekend. We're inching closer to MLB. We're very excited. We're thinking about bringing back MMA, but as many hours as it takes to do MMA, there's only like 3 or 4 people checking it out. So I don't even know if a ton of you check out NASCAR, but we've been doing pretty good with NASCAR as well. So go check out everything we have there. Go sign up FTA Plus. You can get a month plus sports betting for $24.99, or you can use the promo codes VIP customer, all one word, all capital letters, to get 2 years for $99, or you can use the promo code MLB VIP to get 1 year for $75 instead of $199. So that's what I've got. Good luck, and as always, let's bring home some bacon. Peace!